Bodgit and Leggit video. Now today we have a wiring problem. I've been asked for more of these video diagnostic wiring problems, so we have one today. This should be an interesting one because I essentially had a little bit of an argument with the customer. He's already been to another place and they've replaced, essentially what we got wrong first is the fog light isn't working. All the other lights are working apart from the fog light. And it's been to another place already and they've put a second-hand light cluster in the back. Still didn't solve the problem. Now when you think about it, can only really be a few problems. Fuse, relay, switch, wire, bulb, or the cluster at the back. That's essentially it. So when you break it down to that, it makes it a lot more simple. So I'm going to quickly go through the tools I would use just to do like like a wiring diagnostics. This is the main tools. There is a few more, but this is kind of the main one. So this is what I would use to test the fuses, because to try and pull a fuse or a wiring diagram or a fuse diagram can take long. You can quickly test the fuse with this. This just puts on the fuse terminals. It bleeps once the fuse is good, so you know it's good. Next one is a relay tester. Now again, I'll quickly show this in the videos, but you'll see when it comes next to, hope you can see that, a magnet, which is what a relay is, it lights up. So you'll know if that relay is working, if it's not working, if it's sticking. You'll know very, very quickly by putting this fella to it. And that's what it is. Next one is the old scope on a rope. Very important. Very, very important, I have to say. One of the best tools you'll actually get. And they are very, well, they are very reasonable. They're quite cheap, even the good ones. Right, so we get to the multimeters. And this is a Facom 714A even. This is really good, does a lot, does battery tests and everything. I think it's kind of the latest one from Facom. They maybe brought out another one in the meantime. But good piece of kit. Always good to have a good multimeter. Personally, don't buy 20, 30 quid multimeters. You will only be second guessing yourself. I would say personally even buy a second-hand good one rather than trying to buy a cheap new one. But that's just me. So I have one multimeter there. Then I sometimes use this fella. This is from Snap-on. It's the M2. Again, it's a multimeter, but it's also a 2-channel scope. And not only that, this will Bluetooth to my big Snap-on Various, and I can actually kind of do some waveforms Bluetooth with not being connected to anything, which is really handy. So we're going to kind of go through what I'm going to do to this car, what I kind of use, and let's see if we can find the problem, because the other garage couldn't. So if we can, we're going to look like bloody heroes. Right, hopefully you can hear me over all this wind noise. You're blowing an absolute gale out here. This is a different car to what I'm working on, but this is easier to show you. So when you're testing a fuse, you want to make sure whatever you're testing, make sure it's switched on. And essentially all you do is with this, the 2 little pins either side. So as you can see, obviously what these ones are for, these aren't switched on at the minute, but let's just say you get power one side and not power the other side, you know that fuse is blown. When you're getting power both sides, you know that fuse is okay. As you can see, we're getting power both sides. So that's how you check a fuse. And I can check all these fuses a lot quicker than I can to try and pull a wiring diagram out and see. So when only one side lights up, you know the fuse is gone. And with this other fella, again, if you want to know if your relay is on, sticking or whatever, you can put this to it. As you can see, nothing's lighting up, so then relays aren't turned on. As soon as you put it next to one that's turned on, you can see it actually, hopefully you can see that, actually lights up. You put it next to one that doesn't, so you know, I know that relay's engaged, and that's how you test a relay. Very, very quickly, very simple, sorted, done, bang, let's get on with it. Okay, so just take it from me that I've tested the fuses are okay. They're right underneath here. I can't get proper lighting, you can't see it, but I just use that little machine. Next thing I would test is the bulb, because they're the bulb and the fuse are the first easy things to check. Now, the thing with the bulb is, a bulb can look okay and still actually not work. I've seen it a few times. So what I always do, I always put a brand new bulb in, just in case, because I have been caught a couple of times where you just quickly look at the bulb, oh, the bulb's fine, and as it turns out, it's the bulb. Another thing you want to look for in the bulb is make sure there's no kind of green, white scum where there's water sat or it's kind of anything wrong, so it's not making proper connection. As we can see, that is a new bulb and it still doesn't work. So now we're going to take the diagnosis to the next step. And we're going to go to the back to do that. Now, I have been told from the customer, because this is why I had an argument, if you remember from the first part of the video, he said the person has tested it and there's 12 volts coming to the back. Because I was going to do that and stuff. No, that's all. It's not a problem with the volts. It's not the problem with volts. The volts are fine. Power is fine. That's not the problem. I said, well, I need to check it first because I don't rely on what anyone else has done. I like to check things myself. And I said, look, you're best off just leaving the car with me because otherwise I'm going to. So I didn't say that to him. That's what I was thinking. So we're going to now go to the back and test it and see what's going on. Before we go to the back, this is the switch that controls the fog light, and what I did notice, as you turn it on, obviously the lights come on, and you have to pull it out once for the front fog light, and I don't know if you can see, but the front fog light is working. So you pull it out once for the front fog light and twice for the rear fog light. But what I did notice is it's not coming on the dash. The little symbol, the fog light symbol, is not coming on the dash, which it should do. So I'm just wiggling the switch just to see. No, nothing's happening. Okay, so that should recognise that the fog light is coming on in the back. One thing I do want to check, just for shits and giggles. Now the light that's actually on is the parking lights, or the rear lights. The bottom bulb here is the bottom bulb is the fog light. I'm just going to take that out. Let's go back to the front. Aha! Look at that! Now, that points me to a completely different direction. 10 points to anyone that pauses the video now and tells me why that is doing it. So the car now thinks that fog light is on. That's what that's telling me. Okie dokie. Right, let's get cracking with this. It's going to be interesting. Right, let's just try this. So we have our ignition on, and we have our light switch on. So that's what you need to test. Well, if you're testing lights, you need to make sure obviously your lights are on. So I'm going to try and keep this multimeter somewhere where you can actually see it. So it's on volts. I don't know if you can see it. Oh no, you can't see it there. You see it there? Right, so what I'm going to do, very simply, which is the wrong thing to do, and I'll show you why in a second. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to test to see if we've got voltage. Let's move that out of the way a second. In the middle here, where the actual middle part of the bulb sits, so when we look at a bulb, the middle part is the power and the outside is the earth, so we're seeing what this little plate strikes on, which is right in here. I hope you can see that. Just take this bulb out so it's not blinding us. So it's right in there. We're going to test voltage. So I'm just going to earth it to the actual boot strap for just for the minute, and I'm going to put it in here. Oh, this is the problem. Trying to do this on camera is quite difficult. Let's try that again. Put my probe in there. Earth it out. As you can see, as you can see, we've got 10.8 volts, which would be enough to actually light it. So as you can see, with the battery being on and the lights on, the battery's been on for a while. I've been doing other things to this car, and we've basically got voltage to the back. So you think, oh, okay, well that's enough voltage to light this bulb. So it's not a voltage problem, it must be a bulb problem, it must be this back cluster problem. No, you have to test this under load because it's a loaded circuit. So the bulb is the load. So So just testing it with no bulb in is absolutely pointless. You're going to get false readings, and I think this is what the other garage has done. Tested it with the bulb out, which is not what you do. You just do not. So let me earth the old scope on a rope. Want to test it, see if it's working. As we can see, we know this bulb is working, the main bulb, so we know our scope, as you can see. Oh, camera angle, sorry. So as I touch that, I've just popped the fuse. I have just popped the fuse, I earthed it out. Just trying to get a better camera angle. I touched both of them together and I earthed it out. Not a big deal. We'll change the fuse and continue. Bagger. Boom! We are sucking diesel again. This time, don't earth it out, you tit. Oh, that's it. Drop the multimeter, yeah. See that down in a minute. Right, so we know this this rear light is working, because you can see it's working. So, we put our multimeter to, Jesus Christ. We put our scope to it, our scope on a rope, our test light, and as you can see, the test light lights. Now, the same voltage through the multimeter is going to both of these pins. Just, you could say, close to 11 volts in both of them. So, we just touch this one off here and it lights. We should be able to do the same. And look at the difference. Look how dim that light is. Very, very dim compared to this one. See the difference? So what that tells me is, we are chasing a wiring issue. Whether we've got a wire that's cut, that's corroded, that's bad connection, don't know yet, but that tells me we are looking for a problem with the wiring. That's why even a really expensive multimeter can get you into trouble very, very quickly. If you just test that with the multimeter, you think, oh, it's fine, look, there's plenty of voltage there. No, 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 there just isn't. And let's test it with the multimeter with the bulb in. So I put the bulb in, as you can see, the bulb doesn't light. It's a lot bigger bulb in the bulb than what's in here. So I need to follow this trace. And I can see this is wire number 2. So if I put my multimeter, and remember we had 10.8 volts coming to this. I stick my multimeter into wire number 2, which is just there. This is so awkward on camera. Put that on. And we are getting, well, I mean, just nothing. You can see it's struggling, even a few milliamps. It's just not doing, it's just not drawing any current. Now, hopefully I can get that to stay there, because what I can do is, I get that to stay there. Is that on? As we can see, just a few millivolts, 100 millivolts. But watch what happens when I take the bulb out. It jumps up to 10.5, 10.6. It just jumps up the voltage hugely because there's no draw in it. So let's just put the bulb back. Oh, I think I just dropped out the pin. Come on, get in. Come back on. I'm back. We're bang down to millivolts again. Always test the loaded circuit with a load. One of the best tools you can buy. Right, so now we're chasing something completely different. To put away tools for the minute, what I can do is, just for, again, shits and giggles, I'm going to trace this wire here, which is number, so the power wire coming out of here, it goes to pin number 3. So what I'm going to do, just for the hell of it, this next thing I'm going to do, whatever you do, do not do this near your ECU, near control modules, near anything like that. I'm going to cross the wire, one of the power wires coming in, and I'm going to feed it to where our bulb is. I'm only doing this because I know I can get away with it on this circuit. You cannot get away with it on ECUs. You cannot, anything like that, you will go bang. So, be careful. What this test is going to tell me, is going to tell me if this light cluster is okay. So I'm just testing the light cluster. All I'm doing, I'm just going to back pin connection number 2, which is our bulb that's dead. And I'm also going to back pin bulb number 3, or sorry, pin number 3, which is bulb number 2. I'm just going to touch them together. So what I can do now is, our bottom bulb should work. And as you can see, when I touch these two together, our bottom bulb works. All I'm doing is just touching them 2 pins together. Hopefully you can see that. I've just back probed these 2 connections here. You can just see them. And I'm just touching them together, just like that. Now I know 100% that this light cluster is okay. I still don't know anything back, but I now know that I'm not chasing a problem with the light cluster. If that didn't light up, you know you have a problem with the light cluster. Simple, bang, job done, game over. But we don't have that. It's a very simple test, but just be careful. Make sure you know what you are doing before you cross anything. No power modules, no ECUs, no nothing like that. Do not do it! So the next thing is the switch. That's the next thing I'm going to go to, because it's the next easiest thing to go to. We're going to test the switch. One thing you do have to be careful is, because we've got all the lights burning and the car isn't running, your battery will go down very, very quickly. You can see it's already dropped since we did that test. So just be aware that, you know, if you're getting faults reading, make sure your battery, there's either a battery charger on, or every so often you start the car. So what I'm going to do is, for a few minutes, that's if it even starts. Yeah, I'm just going to let this car charge up, and then we can continue. Sorted, sorted! I've left it running for a few minutes, it should be enough. This is where now you might struggle. We might need a wiring diagram for this, and the average person's not going to have, or not going to spend the money on the software to get wiring diagrams, because the software to get wiring diagrams is very expensive. You can sometimes get wiring diagrams off the internet, but you just don't know if they're accurate or not. I've been lucky sometimes, but most of the time, to be fair, they've just been no good. I do know the wire coming from the back is a grey wire with a green tracer. So I'm going to look on the back of this switch. Hopefully there's no connector blocks in between and the wire hasn't changed and we're good to go. But if not, I'm going to have to pull a wiring diagram up. This just literally pulled out. I'm going to disconnect the, I'm going to try, there we will. Disconnect the dimmer switch just so I can get this pulled out more. And as you can see, we have a big bunch of wires. So I'm going to disconnect that again. Right, there's our switch. As you can see, oh look, lights don't work. Well, there's your problem. Anyway, so we have now the connector block, and I'm going to look. Oh, do we? That's it. No, no. Ah, yes. We have a green, well, a grey wire with a green trace. So, what I want to do is take this switch out of here, if I can do that, just make my life a bit easier. There's just 2 pins. I'm going to disconnect this for a start. Just push down on the 2 pins and the light came out. It just makes it a lot easier for me now to actually test. Okie dokie, put the switch back in. Turn the ignition on. Turn the lights on. Lights still work. Still got nothing going to the back. Front fog. Everything works in here apart from the rear fogs. So everything else works on this switch. Front fogs, everything. So I'm going to now tee into that and see what voltage we've got. So, how are we looking? Use my back probe pin. Tee into that. This is I need 3 hands now. Where can you see that? I need the crocodile clips on here to make my life so much easier. Different connections with crocodile clips on. Yeah. So earth that there. Pull the old Johnny back. Turn the light on. Touch the pin. As you can see, 64 millivolts. So absolutely nothing. Now that is with the bulb plugged in. So let's unplug the bulb and see if we've definitely got the right wire, and let's see what happens. So can I leave this here while I unplug the bulb? Stay. Stay. Hope you can see that. Oh, be careful. Can't afford that to drop. Boom! Jumps right up to 10.5 volts. So we know we're on the right wire. It looks like it's their switch. Let's just make sure it's the switch. Very easy to do again. Right, we now need to find a power coming into this. And the big red wire there. And I'll be pretty certain that's the power. So let's touch that. Yeah, that is a power. 11.6 volts. You can see that. That is a power. Lovely. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this switch. Now again, I'm going to do something here because I know I'll get away with it. Do not do this on ECUs, control, anything like that. Do not do it. Because you will pop them and it will cost you a fortune. Right. So, I'm going to number 3. You shouldn't really do this. You should never push a probe into the pins like this. But I'm just doing it for convenience and so I can show you. Because the problem is you're doing what I'm doing there now. What you can do is you can spread out the pins so it won't work, so just be very, very careful with that. What I'm going to do is I've just got a crocodile clip and I'm just going to literally cross them too. As simple as that. So I'm going to put this across both of them, so hopefully it joins onto both of them. Well, look at that. As soon as I've done that, let's just get you in here. So I've crossed them. As soon as I did that, look at that, the fog lights came on. I disconnect it, fog light goes off. Connect it, fog light comes on. Disconnect, goes off. Connect it, comes, oh. Connect it, goes on. Right, only one way to know if this has worked. Oh yeah, oi, come back, say hello. 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 Ow. Right. If I connect this in and it works, job's good. And that means whoever tested this, that's what fucked him up. He tested it, there was voltage coming, he thought there was enough, but he didn't test it under load. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. Where's the bulb? Let's just put the first bulb in first. Oh, of course, that bulb wouldn't work because I haven't got that switched on. I was getting worried there. Now, when I put this on, it should light up. This is scary. Oh, look at that! Boom! There we go. See, very simply, how you can get yourself into a lot of trouble by just relying on a multimeter. And they're on, multimeters are fantastic, but every tool has its job. There we go. Boom! So if I can get that there, I'm going to disconnect and connect that wire, that bridge I've got, and see what happens. See if it goes on and off, on and off, on and off. Right, that that confirms it. Dodgy switch, end of story. So yeah, that's what trouble a multimeter can get you into. So you just need to know what circuit you're testing to what tests you need to do. So yeah, simple really. We'll get a switch for it. I don't know when that's going to be. If I can get one quick enough, I will put it on the end of the video. If not, well, I'm going to have to, just so everyone knows it definitely was the switch. So yeah, hopefully I can get one quick enough and bang it in. Right, let's see if our fix is confirmed. I have a switch. Here's our old switch. Here's our new one. Looks a lot fancy. It's got a bit of plastic chrome around it because, hey, who doesn't like a bit of plastic chrome? This is out of 2012 Polo. This is a 2001 Polo. But everything looks the same connections. So everything looks the same. Just looks like a slightly fancier switch. So what I'm going to do, plug it in, see what happens. Alright, well it goes in. Turn the ignition on. Click it first. We have lights. Yes, I've just checked, we have lights, parking lights. Dip. As you can see we have dip, full beam. Not that a full beam was affected. Now, front fogs. Yeah, you can see front fogs lighting. Now, the second pull. Do we have the light coming on in here? Let's get you in. Let me try and just pull the switch out. Aha! Yes! We have. We have it. There we go. Fixed. Now let's check the back out, see if our actual light does come on and off. And we'll look at the camera from here to be able to see it. Aha, there we go. Woo. Lights off, lights on. There we go, bang, sorted, done. There we go. So, hope you enjoyed the video. The most important thing is, depending on what you're testing, just make sure you understand the circuit or whatever you're testing. If you don't understand it properly, you're going to be getting fault readings, you're going to be getting all sorts, just like that. It did show you was getting voltage. As soon as you put it on the low, the voltage just completely went, just gone. And as you can see, it was the switch. Nice, easy fix. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been a wire cracked somewhere or broken somewhere, which obviously is a hell of a lot worse. We just got lucky with this one. So that's it really. Look, hope it helps. Thumbs up, subscribe and all that. All the links down below to our Facebook page, to GoFundMe project, to our forum, to everything. So there, comment down below, and lots more videos like this to come. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.